gentlemen, Jim and Tailor here.
Victoria Baylor, Dressmaker. Hey guys.
How y'all doing?
Hey, you found yourself in another episode of the Tailor and the Dressmaker show. We are on our last episode for the month, right?
Last episode for the month.
It's February. I know people doing their taxes.
Yeah, you know.
It's kind of a crazy time.
We talk about life and its existence as well as sewing because we need to interact on what's happening in our everyday lives as well.
Because my taxes is going to keep me from sewing this weekend.
Okay.
I hate doing taxes. It's going to take me a couple of days. Well, this is kind of just our kind of sum up the month episode, so to speak.
Yeah.
Just kind of, we're going to chit chat with you, talk about this. I think it was a really good month. Dealing with finding inspiration, time management, all that important kind of stuff. The whole point of doing this month was to get people kind of invigorated, on track,
motivated, pumped up,
focused.
rah.
Yes.
Reason. We have to be that way in life. We cannot just focus and not forget about our everyday surroundings. What motivates us to do not just sewing, but the other things in life. How we plan. We talked about planning.
Yep.
How we plan all of this from our lifestyles to our soul styles. I like that, soul styles.
Because it takes energy to move, right?
Yeah.
You can't just move from point A to point B without energy. And energy has to be something that's kind of geared up, revved up, stored up to launch you. Same is true with sewing. You need that kind of motivation, enthusiasm. Which brings me to a good point, which is kind of where we want to start with today's show. Inspiration. So we kind of talked about that, and I know we always go back to that, but it's really, really, really important to have that. And I always ask the question of people, do you go out and find your own, or like, is that just something you wait to kind of happen to you? And I've been thinking more and more about that as time goes by. How do you do it? Do you go out and find your own?
I do both. Because when I go out to find my own, sometimes in going out to find my own, I come across the path of other people who also bring it into my life.
Very true.
So with that said, I had a project that I had been working on that fell through. I know why it fell through. I knew before it was going to fall. But I told the Holy Spirit, if you want me to teach your children, I once made the mistake of thinking it was just these, and it ended up not being those, it ended up being the rest of y'all. I'll be very, very honest with you. This project that fell through was once again about just these, and it fell through, and I know the reasons why. No fault of mine. I was a facilitator, but I don't pull the string on everything that happens. But yet, this was a project that came to me. So I told the Holy Spirit, I said, Holy Spirit, you keep telling me that I must continue to do this. Now, I've set this as my last year of in-house teaching. I've set this as my last year. My daughter will graduate in the end of April, and I set that as my parameter. And there's a reason for that, because there are other things. I wanted to go out in the universe to teach in other areas. Well, I'm going to be going out to Denver in the summer to teach, spend a couple of weeks out there to teach, help somebody get better and get started in a bigger arena. See, so, you know, like you said, we don't know where we're going or how we're going to do it. If they come through, I've got 5 to 7 new students coming through to get the hands-on, because the hands-on is going to stop. As I was saying, the hands-on is going to stop. The teaching for me would never stop. I could never stop.
I was going to say, because he said this like the year before last.
No, but I put a date on it. That date is coming. You understand?
I'm going to wait. He's going to wake up. He's going to be in his sleep teaching, because this man that's just how he's built. But I think it's awesome. I agree with you. I think sometimes we aim for one arena, and God has such bigger plans for where we're supposed to go, and we have no idea. And it's good to be open to that. And that's why I really ask, how do you find inspiration? I really do think it's our responsibility to seek it out.
Absolutely.
But I totally agree. I think there's always those serendipitous moments where you get hit with something and it makes you think, or it really propels you. The way I like to do it, I kind of do it a little bit of the same. And I think recently I had some really great inspirational moments, so I feel very motivated. I was a little bit, I don't want to say nervous, but I was a little bit, I don't know, nervous. I was a little bit, I don't know, nervous. I was a little bit 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 nervous. I was a lit I think a little lackluster after the Christmas holidays. I had a huge project I was working on. I was kind of beat down, a little bit tired. I need to recoup. And again, that's one thing I think we have a problem with. We think we should be going nonstop.
Right.
You gotta rest. Sometimes some projects are just so big. You gotta take a week, 2 off, recoup yourself. In the grand scheme of things, you're not gonna lose anything.
You really don't.
You're not.
You don't really don't.
So recently I did go. My husband was so sweet to get me tickets to go see Shin Yun. It was the first time I think it was playing in Savannah.
Yeah.
And the only reason I wanted to see this, I've done costume work on a couple of occasions, as you know, and the costumes were just fantastic.
Yeah.
And I have to admit, after seeing it, the costumes were fantastic. And I just knew it would just shape my mind when it comes to things of colors and putting things together. I was so inspired after watching this. It took me like a whole 2 days to just kind of let it sink in. It was an overwhelming of the senses. Yeah. So I go places, do something you don't normally do, seek out new arenas. Secondly, I'll definitely say I discovered on Netflix. So I don't have a lot of time to watch TV because I work, but I try to squeeze it in. But I like to spend my time watching things that will motivate me. So I just said to myself, I always have this thing with athletes and things like that. Like, what gives them their drive? What is their routine, all that good stuff. Yeah. Well, I ran across this excellent series. It's called The Chef's Table. It's on Netflix. But swallow my candy. But it's a phenomenal show in that it really deals with like the chef, but not so much from what he produces point of view. It really deals with kind of how did that person become good, what motivates them, their background, their history. It's like all biographical, but it is amazing. And I'm not a foodie, but anyway, it's a really good show. So I recommend that for anybody that's looking for a little bit more inspiration to kind of go out in that means and look at how other people live, look at what they do, look at how they think. Does that make sense?
I do that as well. I'm a big viewer of the cable stations. I watch the History Channel. I watch the Home and Gardens, how they convert houses. Because everything we do, something inspires you, like you say, to make a change. Because what we do is we are making a change. All you sewers are actually making a change. Because you're making something personalized. You're not producing, although one of my dear friends, and she studied a little under me too, did these drill team uniforms that she posted.
Can we give her a shout out to Miss Demetra
Rowan?
Miss Rowan, congratulations,
I'm telling
baby.
you, it thrilled my heart because just 3 weeks ago, she called me for some advice on how to prepare to set them up. And the next thing I look, boom, I was so elated with what she did and how she did it. I brought tears to my eyes because when I see things that people do, when I see what my students do, when I see what you guys out there in cyberspace, when it hits me and I like you, I like you. Okay? Now, she made a comment, because I made a comment on her. She said, Mr. Jim, she said, you very seldom comment on people. You will like them, but you don't comment. I said, well, sometimes I do. I don't comment for one reason, and it's the reason why I always talk about. You can show a visual picture, but have you sewn it well? And I am very hard on have you sewn it well. So that's why I don't comment on it, because I haven't seen it up close. I've seen her work.
Yeah, it's really phenomenal. If we had her permission, we might, by the time we air this, if not, we'll probably include a picture of it. But it's just like you saying, I mean, you just kind of take a leap and go for it. And I think that's why I was compelled after I saw that series. It's just, no matter what you do for a living, if you're going to be great, it's almost the rules are the same. Whether you're a sewer, a chef, a doctor, or whatever. You got to get in there, get your hands dirty. You have to be relentless. It was funny, one of those episodes, there was a woman that wanted to perfect her art of baking bread the way she did. She did work with Wolfgang Puck. I think she did like hundreds of different like breads, and she would vary the temperature by a little bit or the amount of yeast. I mean, how many people would hang in there for that, for the goal of doing that thing? So look somewhere else to get your inspiration. Sometimes as sewers we get so stuck where we are. I think I also read somewhere that who was it? Bill Gates, either him or who was the Apple guy? Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
Steve Jobs, one of the two had they took a calligraphy class or something like that, and it was that class, and it wasn't related to anything to do with computers, but it was that class that actually helped lend some ideas for them to use with the font in their computer work. And it's just amazing we get that. So I always say spend your time on doing, you know, what you love to do, but I'm not excluding the fact that you should spend your time going out there, getting new ideas, trying new things, playing around with stuff, because you learn a lot. And you'd be surprised where you get your motivation and inspiration.
Yeah.
So yeah. So with that being said, we're going to talk about our March plans. We don't know what you guys got going on, but feel free to share in the comments. We always love to find out. I have this because I did go to Shenyang. I had this really beautiful Chinese print cotton with like some gold colors in it. Because of this, I actually wanted to make something to wear. I just didn't have time. I want to make something really cute out of this in honor of my wonderful experience. So there will be something popping up in this. So look out for it.
Geisha girls on there.
I know, it's so cute. That's right. So you can see it. Geisha girls. A lot of Asian theme kind of print stuff. And then also in March, it is our annual father-daughter banquet at our church. And if you followed my blog for a long time, 10,000 hours, I've been making dresses for my daughter since she was like 4. And speaking of which, this is when she was 4. And if you also follow my blog, you know my child is not this size anymore. She's a big old girl. So this is her dress from last year, which is really, really pretty. It was kind of like the double layer, you know, asymmetrical short in the front. Really, really pretty. Had the faux leather belt with the trim, gold in it. But anyway, we want to do something really fancy this year, so I think she wants to do something tropical. It's always the joy of making something yourself, and this was her dress from the year before, you might remember. But anyway, so I'll be working on that. And then lastly, for Mr. Jim talks about his plans, I plan on getting into draping, kind of real hardcore. So I have a half-scale dress form. As you know, this is like a smaller version of the actual bigger dress form. You can practice and test designs. I plan on getting to the point where I can do a drape a day. Wow. So follow me on Instagram, Victoria Baylor, on Instagram, and you'll kind of see some of my designs. If I like something enough, I will actually make it. And then I might consider after the month making a larger version of something for myself. So just follow along. And then lastly, I have also, I do image and style consulting, and I launched dressin10.com. You've heard me say that before. And I have a wonderful 7-day free webinar for anybody that's interested in de-stressing their everyday wardrobe. 7 free days seminar. So anyway, check that out. So March is going to be pretty exciting for me. How about you, Mr. Jim?
Well, like I say, I've got some new students coming through.
Yeah.
They're excited, and I'm excited. They're excited for several reasons. Some of these people, believe it or not, came to me years ago. Years ago. They were friends. Now, I want you guys to listen very carefully what I'm about to say. They were friends with some of my students now that are out in the universe. And they tell me, we talked about this when we were in school. Matter of fact, one of my students that's out there, her line is jwright_collection. One of the ladies who just came to see me, she pushed her into coming. And she sat on her laurel, as they say. Now she wants to, because they were both inspired at the same time. One acted upon it, one didn't. Now here we are back to inspiration. One inspired the other. Now she's out there doing extremely well for herself. Now her friend wants to get in there. Well, I tell them, you will not be her. You can only be you.
Yes.
But if you do what she did to get where she is, then you will be you that did what she did, and now you will be out there. So I'm really excited about these, because a lot of people have come to me because they want to do this. Well, all I can do is teach you how to do it.
Yeah.
You're the one that has to inspire yourself to dig deep down and get it together. So that's what I'm going to do.
Well, that sounds good. And I love the part where you said about just staying in your lane. Because I find a lot of sewers will get discouraged when they look at where other people are going. Please, I want you to be like a horse with blinders on. You know what those look
That's
like?
right.
That means you can only look forward. Don't look over here. Don't look over there. I remember for years I would do the same thing. I'm like, well, how come I'm not doing this, that? For those of us who really do believe there's a God-given purpose you have,
right.
He didn't give us all the same purpose.
No, He did.
Your job is to do, I love what Joyce Myers always say, even if you're not sure what you're doing, just try some stuff out.
That's
you
right.
would be surprised. And that's why I say go find, whether you like biographies, talk to someone who's made it, read Mr. Jim's biography. I have people emailing me. Find out what people have done, because you would be surprised that they start somewhere, they have no idea, and then they end up somewhere they never even planned. But they just started moving, started trying stuff. So don't try to be anybody else.
No.
Be you.
No.
You are your own type of genius. Trust me. No one can do what you can do the way you do it.
Get in the game. I always tell all my
That's the most
students,
important part, yeah.
get in the game. Because when you get in the game, whatever you produce, if it's a limited, don't worry about it. Just make that the best limited, whatever it is.
There you
Because
go.
guess what? The universe will ask you for something else.
There
You
you
don't have to let them ask you and then target that market. I've done, there's nothing in the world I have not made, including underwear. Right? Nothing that I haven't made.
Okay, so I love the part where you said, stop trying to think that, you're the only, you need to make something extremely brand new. Most of the things that are made out there have already been made.
Oh, they have.
And you just need to take those same things and actually put your own creative spin on it.
Sure.
And that's one of the things I notice it with, like, recipes. How can you really, like, trademark a certain recipe, but it's different flavors or different things, but you can do it your way. Just start doing stuff. I love it. Get in the game, start practicing, and I promise if you do enough stuff, you'll start asking yourself, well, what if I change this? Or I like it better this way. You'll develop a point of view. But most point of views aren't developed just sitting on your couch, not doing anything.
No.
So just some helpful advice. But anyway, so hope you enjoyed February.
Yeah.
Found it to be very, very inspirational. And then March, we have a lot going on, and we will be sharing. We have no theme for March yet, but we will start by taking your questions. So if you have any general questions, please leave those below the video, and we'll start attacking those.
Yeah. Questions, mind you, that you might ask. We will give you our best answer for them. It's the same question that somebody else might have wanted to ask, but didn't ask.
That's true.
See, so when you give us a question, it opens up the door for a lot of sewers who wanted to ask the same question. They were just, maybe they were intimidated to ask, because a lot of times people think, well, if I ask a question, it sounds like I don't know. We don't know everything either.
No.
But
Not at all.
the questions that get asked, those are the same questions you might have thought of this question, and that question was in the back of your mind, so you didn't ask it, this person asked it. Send your questions, let us answer them to the best of our ability, and let's make this year a sewing extravaganza. I have several of my students that are out there doing fashion shows over here, fashion shows over there, New York fashion fair, everywhere. Now, most of my students that are really out there, they've been sewing for less than 3 years.
Yeah.
They've been in the game for less than 3 years, but they've made such a big mark out there. A big mark. Why? Because they were dedicated.
That's true. We're not going to promise that road up ahead is going to be easy. No. If you really want to get this thing, you're going to just be grinding the wheels there. But it'll be worth it.
Yeah.
And I always say, like with anything, a marriage, relationship, anything, you put most of your work up front, it gets easier with time. So
Now let me say this too,
that's how it works.
for you sewers. Miss Demetria, who we're talking about, she's not a young person like a lot of yours are. She's a very seasoned person like a lot of us are. So don't ever think that it's too late for me because I didn't let so many years pass me by and I can't get in the game. This lady who I'm going to see in Denver is seasoned like me, but she wants to get in the game. And I'm going to help her in any way that I can.
That's right. You have one life, and you can live 3, 4 different lifetimes, I guess, within that lifespan if you choose. So yeah, age is just nothing.
Age has nothing to do with it.
Nothing to do with it. It's all about drive and how bad you want it. So.
That's it. So
anyway, we want it bad, and we want to see you guys next
Absolutely.
class, or next session. So it was nice seeing you guys, and we will see you in a week.
Many blessings. Gentleman Jim here.
All right, Victoria. Bye. Take care.